just all mist on the water. A few lessons learnt there last night. That's life, live and learn. Just brilliant. We'll do the best we can, make it as safe as we can. Hope we get the kayaks there in one piece. And after that, we'll wait and see what other catastrophes happen, but no, it should be a good trip. And we're off to a place called Boreen Point, which is going to be the start of our trek. Our first trek on our kayaks, an overnighter. Just to give them a bit of a run and see how our gear goes on there, and it's going to be quite interesting. Boreen Point, then it goes 20 kilometres up what they call the Upper Noosa River. The
Everglades.
Well, the Everglades actually start down a bit lower, and then they turn into the lakes, and then they go to the Upper River area, which is in the Cooloola Shire.
So you have to go left, right?
So that's where we're headed, and we should be at our place in about half an hour, ready to launch. So we'll catch you then. Heading off on our first kayak adventure. One day overnight stay at a place called Harry's Hut. It's going to be about a 15-kilometre paddle today. So far the weather looks great. Just been told I better get going because the wind is going to come up. So yeah, beautiful morning. Pelicans just over here.
Nice bananas. God knows where the food is.
Where are we, buddy?
Well, we're at Boreen Point, about to launch. And we're going to see if that thing floats.
We'll find you.
Hi.
Just you and me. I'm waiting on the beach, feeling the breeze with just you and me. What are you doing to me? I'm feeling my love go unseen. Why you be messing with me? Do you not see? Can't never understand. It's fun that I'm in a rock band. What you be doing to me? This world is cruel, but I'm loving you. Don't ever fall back down. Our time is running out. This world is cruel. It's full of fools. Don't ever be confused. Just ask me what to do.
It's a beautiful day out on the lake. Not another boat in sight. There's not a cloud in sight, to tell you the truth. And just a light breeze has come up at the moment. Nothing to affect you in any way. It's actually nice getting a little bit of breeze through the hair. I'm getting a bit hot. I'll have to get this jacket off. It was a bit cool this morning. About 7 degrees when I got up. 8 when we got on the water. That's 8 degrees Celsius, that is. And but now I feel like I'm probably about 20 degrees at least with this big coat on. So actually I might even loosen it up a bit. Get a bit of air happening in here. Half the way across this lake now, longer than what I expected. We're only halfway. Yeah. Alright, so halfway. My son tells me there's this mountain in the background. It's one of many mountains in this area that have this feature. They're like, how can I describe them? They're a bit like out of the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the bloke built that big sort of volcano type thing. They all have this flattened off peak on them. paddling so far has been really nice. Beautiful clear water. Just a nice flat surface. The sun's straight in our heads. So I'm just paddling straight into a sunbeam. Straight down the middle of the boat. Looking in the background there's some sort of big sand dune mountains. And I think they call that the Kalula Sandy Strait. So we won't be getting there on this trip because we'll just be sticking to the rivers. But so far paddling has just been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, this is Eli. I've got the camera now. It's just in between my legs with the pole right there, so not a great shot, but it's my show now, guys. Putting on sunscreen. Putting on sunscreen again. Am I covered?
Yeah, looking good. So beautiful and quiet out here. I'm probably 2 kilometers still away from the shoreline, and I can just hear all the birds. Right behind me there's so many different sounds of bird calls. And way off down to the south, that's south, that's north. I'm basically facing straight east, and west behind me. I've got to say there's nothing like just sitting in the middle of a big lake. This one's probably about possibly 15 kilometers long, but at least 6 to 7 kilometers wide, as long as one of those big bronze whaler sharks don't come along. They're pretty common in this area. They love the estuaries, the flats, so hopefully we see no fins.
It's probably a K and a bit ahead. Perfect waters, as Dad would probably have said a lot by now. Yeah, we're just chilling. It's very peaceful and tranquil. Getting disconnected from technology and whatnot, but once you have it, it feels all right.
I've had to put the sunnies on. Paddling into that sun so long now, just the reflection off the water is starting to sting my eyes a bit. So I've already had one little skin cancer in my right eye. Just probably due to the nature of my work, you know, I've been outdoors for forever. And in the Australian environment, the sun is one of our biggest killers. So I'll try and keep the sunnies on when I can. But the skin cancer I had, I went to the optometrist, my eye was a bit dry. And she said, I don't like the look of that. And off I go to the specialist. And he says, yep, you've got a cancer in there, and it was quite large. And anyway, I was thinking the worst, and will I lose my sight, my eye, and all that stuff. But lucky we live in the world we live in, and we've got these medicines to help us out, because I just had to have some chemotherapy eye drops. Even though they irritated the hell out of the eye, it was like getting sandpaper in there, apparently, with some acid, and it just attacked anything that wasn't as strong as the membrane of the eyeball. So that's how they got the cancer. And but it, you know, it wasn't just for a couple of weeks. I had to do that for 2 years, and it's quite expensive. The drop to the course of 4-month course that you had to keep topping up every 4 months because the stuff only held that long in the fridge apparently, so you had to get restocked. And that was $500 a course, so that was 3 times a year times 2 times, so that's 6 times. So it was nearly about $3 grand just to get my eyesight. But I've got to say, it's all good. No problem there. Ooh. I've come here with my son, and it's our first big kayaking trip. We normally go out in the ocean where we live when it's sort of calm enough and there's a few waves we can catch. But this big canoe trip is something we had planned for a couple of months now, but he's at uni and just haven't had time. Then the weather just turned crazy for this area for the last month and a half. It's just been terrible weather, windy all the time. If you're on this lake 3 days ago, I wouldn't be able to make it. It's as simple as that. It would have been like a wild ocean, and really wind torn. You would have had probably 2-foot waves sort of crazily breaking all around the place in here now. So I said, mate, let's just wait for a clear day. And I checked out the weather report last week, and they said there's a possible 2-day window because we've got a bit of an Arctic blast coming through from the Antarctica at the moment. So it brings cold weather and clear skies while it's here. So I said, mate, this is us. Hopefully we'll get beautiful blue skies, calm water, great camping place up the river, and just a nice one-night camping for the both of us, just to get away and spend a bit of time together. He's in control though, it's his trip. He's got to do the navigating and try and find where we've got to get to. And at the moment I'm just looking, he's probably about half a K in front of me, and I can spot the outlines of some building over in the bush. It should be an information setup they've got before you go up these river systems. A lot of people come up here bird watching and just enjoying the outdoors, the great outdoors as they say here in Australia. Anyway, we'll be there in a minute or two. The changing colour of the water now, and it's got shallow. It's only about 2 feet deep, and the colour's gone this, well, like a tea, a black tea, but not black, just a nicely tinted tea. I'm not sure what type of tea everybody drinks, but I'll put mine down to a light English breakfast. How's that sound? So it's called staining of the water, really, because in this area we've got these trees, and they are called tea tree plants. Well, not really a plant, they're a tree. I'm not a botanist, so just a general observer of things that go by me. But anyway, the tea tree is what stains these waters these colour. just from the sap, from the roots into the water, and they border all throughout this whole area, around the sides of the lake, up the rivers. It gets washed down from the rivers, and it never really has time to really settle because it's always being fed by the amount of plants that are in the area, so it will always be this colour, unless you take away the tea trees, of course. But like, I'm just looking down to my left hand side here, and there's just thousands of them really. He's up there waiting for me. Yeah.
Would you like a chip? It was easy. We took it slow, as we should, as we've never paddled that far in our lives, I imagine. You haven't?
No,
Have
I
you?
haven't. No,
I've never paddled that far in my life.
we've got a lot way to go too.
That's further than, and I don't know. And we're taking it easy. This is so wide angle I can't really hold it with two hands because it gets my fingers like that.
Mm. Actually, I could just tie onto you.
I mean, yeah, at this point probably you could. We're both just drifting anyway. That's a good shot. That's like their GoPro shots they have on probably on their stands or whatever.
Just entered the upper Noosa River area, a little bit of a tight opening, just to get to another lake. It's only a smaller lake, this one. It's only about 2 kilometres across, and after that there we'll be right into the upper Noosa River part, which yeah, really looking forward to. We've just entered the upper Noosa River. Had to go through a second lake. It's only a smaller lake. The wind come up and basically our kayaks become sails, so we just got blown across that lake. Not looking forward to going back tomorrow because it's going to be pretty hard going. But the upper Noosa River so far, as we've just entered a nice quiet waterway stretch, it's just beautiful. The tea trees behind me, you can probably see, are the ones that stain the water, the tea tree colour, the colour of tea, a light pale tea, the darker the water, darker the tea. If we're lucky when we're out here, we might be able to see kangaroo, koala, goanna, definitely, lizards, other people, not sure about that. But what a place.
You can't give me what I need. What I give you is everything. I could show you how to breathe. The words I tell you mean everything. I've had enough of this, I really, really have. The world is spinning, it takes me out and out again. Wonder why things have to be like this. I'm just waiting on a kiss. When you made your bubble bigger, made me question my own figure. Tasting lips will make me thicker. Help me make my bubble bigger. Hey, turn the radio on. Hey, make that music so loud. Hey, turn the radio on. Hey, make that music so loud. When you made your bubble bigger, made me question my own figure. Tasting lips will make me thicker. Help me make my bubble bigger. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. I'm thinking that the life of men should always die. There's no answers to know, the truth ain't ever shown. Made of the world we love, always exist above. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back. The river's running fast, so we must all go back.
Where are we?
Oh, Harry's Hut camping ground. A little bit tired at the moment. I've just got out of the canoe, paddled 16 kilometres, and
Is it 16?
oh, somewhere around that there. And yeah, just a little bit tired, trying to set up camp so I can relax at the moment. Well, we've just got here to Harry's Hut. People who kayak or canoe up the Noosa River can come and have their campsite. So we've just got the boats off the water, and we've just been spending a bit of time setting up campsite. It's not a bad little area, very quiet, pretty well have it to ourselves. Just for this first trip, doing a kayak, which we haven't done before, we thought we'd just go to just easy places, just a nice area just to spend the night, and check out the gear that we've got to do this type of trip. Down the track we'll get out into the wilds a little bit more. As you can see, we're pretty well doing it in style. My son's preparing his 2 potatoes and a couple of cans of something in there. I can see some rice thrown in the bottom. We're only here for one night, so we didn't come all that prepared. We didn't really have to bring too much at all, but at least we can have something to eat. And I'll show you what we've got a little bit later on. He's telling me that those 2 potatoes can feed 4 people, so
No, there's carrot.
we should be right. And we'll go for a bit of a stroll and check out this Harry's Hut and see what's about in this area. Just one of the interesting trees around here. It's called a paperbark tree. If you look at it, it looks pretty solid, gnarly. But in actual fact, it's a pretty weak tree. I can just grab it, pull, and off it comes. Just made up fine sort of layers of tissue type of paper. In the old days, old days, they used to actually use this as an early writing scroll. The paperbark tree. My dream is to actually get a canoe, a good canoe, and do like they do in the Canadian wilds and load the canoe up, off I go, and trek around. I only say that because the carrying capacity is so much easier and so much more, and you could really go for a great trip on one of these here, because at the moment we've just got a couple of smaller kayaks. They're a little bit limiting to what we can actually do with them, and carrying our gear and loading stuff up, and maneuverability within the kayak itself is a little bit hard, but at the moment we're making do. To have one of these canoes would be a great asset to making better videos, to be able to look after the gear better. But we're trying our best at the moment to just knock together a little bit of a showcase on the upper river area. And they use these canoes for school groups and camping groups who come up here and just get out in the river and enjoy the nature, which is really the thing it's all about. It's just so quiet. But these canoes, one day,
He was a pharmacist, Dad. He purchased the hut from Taunton sawmills when the crane operation ceased in the early 1960s, and obtained a lease from the forestry department for 1 acre of land surrounding the structure.
Harry's Hut. It's an old logger's dwelling where they used to take many different types of timber out of the region to mill. Back in the 1950s, the sign was saying, is when this here was built.
Bought it.
Yeah, he didn't build it, he bought it.
Off the sawmill.
Off the sawmill company. And now they've preserved it so people like me can come and just have a look and go, well, there's Harry's hut. If you kayak up the Noosa Upper River, you'll be able to see it too. But I will let you know, you can cheat and drive here, but there's no fun in that.
Italian diced tomatoes, got carrots, vegetable mix, red kidney beans, paprika, of course baked beans, potatoes because they're large, mini oil. We have mint sliced bickies. But that's my dinner anyway. Put it on there.
Heaps of water for rice.
Guys, this is a first timer's mistake. You know, we're doing what we can. I'm going in and out real quick because I'm scared. Okay. Ooh. That's scary, I don't like it.
What do you think's out there?
Stingrays. I don't want to be stung.
Why do you think it's so black?
The tea tree leaves. Or blood.
The sun's gone down and the river, the water, is now just turning a magical gold colour. Because the water's so black from the tea tree and the depth of the river here is, it was like paddling through oil colour with a metallic sort of tinge to it, and it was like soup to go through because it's so perfectly calm. But now if the sun just setting, it's going to give out all these golden colours, and the reflections have just been amazing coming through a darker part of the river now, and it's just quite spectacular. And if I be quiet for a minute, hopefully we'll hear some of the bird life just settling in for the night and enjoying their space in this beautiful part of the world. The night time was going to be great. Oh. But I've got to say, that was probably the coldest night I've ever had. I've been absolutely freezing. I just couldn't get warm at all. It felt like I was just laying on a bed of snow. I'm not sure what temperature it got down to here, but I've been just sitting up, curled up in whatever clothes I've got, just hoping I can get my body warm. I didn't want to wake my son, so I just went away a bit and but I gotta say, the night time out here, the stars are just incredible. There's one big star over there. I don't know what it is, but wow, it's like somebody had a spotlight just shining it out all night. It's just so big. Anyway, I'm just sitting there and I was waiting for the light to come, and then I heard it, the sounds of the morning birds starting to wake up in the trees. Just a few chirps. Just a few chirps and a few more little chirps. And I got my eyes out of my beanie and looked, and I could just see a little faint bit of light. And I thought, wow, I've made it. Whew. So now it's morning time. And I'm so glad it is. So yeah. Now the sky's changing colour. I'm just a bit cold at the moment. but I made it. I just got to say, the birds now are just coming to life. They're starting to be around me everywhere. It's just one big chorus of different types of birds waking up. You can tell by their sounds, their pitch. I don't know what type of birds they are, but if I get into doing this type of thing more, I'm certainly going to find out. And it's just brilliant. East is over that way. Sun's coming up. Beautiful orange hue in the sky. The gradient of light is just spectacular. And there's a mist. This mist has been on this water. I've been sitting down at this little park throughout the night, just going for a wander to keep warm. And the mist has just been rolling in. It was really cold. It was even colder down here, but I had to do something. And now it's just starting to lift off, and I know you probably can't see it, but it's just giving us another special touch to this Australian bush. Been a bad night, but wow, now it's worth it. Well, I thought I'd get out here on the border while this mist is just rolling through. I can't see down, it's about half a kilometre down that way, but I can't see the end. It's just all mist on the border. I can't really talk that well because my face and mouth are still a bit numb. It's like I've been in a snow blizzard, and just been so cold that I just can't really get my head around how cold it can get here at night time. I knew it was going to be, well, they said it was going to be 8 degrees, but you know, that isn't freezing. But I think here right next to this river, it dropped well below that because I was just so cold. And I spent most of the night up looking at the stars. The stars were incredible. I never knew there were so many stars in the sky, and there was one big bright one just over here, and it was just amazing how bigger and more, I know the radiant colours it was giving out was saying it must be our closest star. I'm not sure, but it was certainly spectacular. And the colour of the night sky without any light around it just sort of showed the fact that the night sky isn't really black, you know. It's got this sort of red, orangey, purpley, hazy, burgundy type of tint to it, like all the ambient light coming from these stars, which probably is what's happening. There's so many stars in the sky giving out so much light. There must be constant light filling the skies, except we don't get to see it. And you get out to a place like this where there's no noise pollution from towns and cities, you'll get to really appreciate the night sky so much more.